check. Check, 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 check. Check, 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 check. Check, check, check. Check, check. All right. Hey. All right. Oh, we can listen to David Bowie. How are you doing today? Doing well here. Any wants or needs today for anybody? We still have a few more minutes to go. Hip flexors, all right.
Could we learn how to stay up in crow? I just hop. I never get beyond
All right.
Like some practice staying up.
Yes, yes. You have, oh good, you got blocks. We'll bring that into play for that. What do you find is difficult getting, staying in, that's a little black and blue.
I just guess I'm scared of toppling over or something, so I don't go forward enough. I never have the experience that both my feet are up. I'm just.
All right. When we do that, I mean, I can still break it down for people. Having a block in front of you and placing a blanket on top of the block so that you have a place to resting your head is a weird way to say it. Because once you're there, it's not like you're resting, because otherwise you end up pushing your head back. But once the head touches the block, then we are trying to apply just a little bit of pressure here. So we get to a space where we still have there's still 4 points of contact to the floor, same as here. 1, and then 1, and then maybe you start to tilt back a little bit and come up from it, and just a little bit, and there'll be a little bit of tapping that happens initially for a bit, but we'll add that in, all right? So you said hip flexors, right? Crow stuff, which we'll get into shoulders and arms. Other wants and needs for anybody out of your practice today? All right. As usual, I have a planned class, and we will add to it here as needed. When is this from? There are more than 2 people here. There we are. All right. So, give it just one more minute, see who else might be coming through. Next week, I am hopping all over the schedule. I will be here, my usual Monday class and Wednesday, and then I'll be coming back on Wednesday evening to sub for Mariel, and then I will be there on that Sunday as well, the 18th, I think it is, to sub for Mariel for the 90-minute, kind of 2 hours usually, I think, on Sundays. And this weekend I will also be at the flight school, so we're going to have a lot of fun this upcoming next week here. Sunday is a rest and relax, or roll and relax afterwards, and I may just show up to take a nap after everything. So I think we're probably good with everything that I've got written down. For anyone who was here on Monday, I sprained or twisted, turned, whatever the language is, my ankle on Sunday morning walking the dog. It doesn't hurt, it just looks bad. But I've been trying not to do things like side plank and stuff that put a lot of strain on it. Not that there aren't possibility for those things in class, but that will be a time where I very intentionally am not doing that thing here. So welcome. Find your comfortable seat. If you like to switch the cross of your legs or make any adjustment that you need to, go for it. We will be working a little bit today, getting into half lotus. For some people, maybe fully getting into lotus. I don't know what anyone else has planned for later on in the week, but tomorrow, the 8th, right? 8/8 is a big day for astrology, some things in yoga. And so Getting ready for or doing Padmasana or lotus pose is part of or can be one of the variations for coming into lion's pose, where you do lion's breath and all kinds of fun stuff. So if you're here tomorrow, right, tomorrow's 8th, yes, there may be some other fun things happening. So let your eyes come closed, or your gaze become soft and unfocused. You can let the shoulders be heavy. Feel the knees getting heavier. Maybe it's a little opening here through the hips. And just check in with yourself in stillness, in something like darkness if you have the eyes closed. And let the exhales carry away anything that is drawing your attention away from being here now with yourself. The inhale that follows the exhale of release helps to ground us and bring us back onto the mat and back into this space. Maybe we start to make that a little bit more intentional. At the very top of your next inhale, make that slight constriction by drawing belly button in and up to lengthen the low back, but to also give force and intention to the exhale. And bring that engagement back for the next breath that moves in and down and now has to adjust to this boundary that we've created. And you can do that just one more time before returning to a more natural breath. Maybe intentionally bring the hands to heart center or one hand right for you. Let the next exhale be complete. The next inhale be full for an Om if you would like to join. Bowing into yourself here. If you have your hands in Anjali Mudra, this is an intention of self-reverence. Bring that into your thinking and into the forefront of your intention here with your practice, as well if there are any other intentions that you have brought with you. With your next in-breath, you can lift the chin, lift the eyelids, release the hands. And bring our hands out in front of us to heart center just one more time. Let's bring the fingers, your right fingers one digit toward you so we can interlace the fingers and just make some figure 8 shapes. Remember which sort of direction it is that we're going here. And the next time you come through the figure 8, pause in the middle, press palms away from you, let the shoulder blades come off the back to start. Then draw shoulder blades onto the back, and the lowest part of the shoulder blades will start to tilt or dip down a little bit as you start to take the arms overhead. You can bring more of a bend to the elbows as you need to. You can stop where you need to. You'll notice a point though as well where the belly wants to start to press forward and we lose that engagement. Can we find that contraction from our breath to sit a little taller, even if it means that we don't reach up quite as high? Then keeping the arms overhead-ish. We'll release the fingers, keep right arm reaching up to the sky, left fingertips off to the left beside you. And on the exhale, as we start to lift and lengthen and stretch through the right side, maybe the left elbow bends a little bit, maybe a lot. Maybe the left elbow can find the floor. But if you do, we're pushing into the hands so that the right sit bone can stay as grounded as we can. And on the inhale, come back up, reach arms overhead. Exhale, back hands to heart center. This time we'll take your other hand, I guess left. Mirroring is happening today and not happening at the same time. My left hand, your left hand, one digit closer, interlace the fingers. move in an opposite direction, which is always really hard for me to figure out. See how this feels through the wrist moving in this direction. And after you do maybe one or two more figure 8 shapes or whatever this shape is, come back to the middle. Press palms away from you. Notice if this feels more uncomfortable or just different with the different interlace. Again, shoulders down the back to start. Begin to bring the arms up and overhead. And as you sit down more intentionally through the sit bones, reach up through the sides of the torso, through the length of the arms, pushing the pointer finger knuckle mounds a little more to the sky. Nice full inhale. And on the exhale, release the fingers, right fingertips off to your right. Lengthen more so on the left side. And on the exhale, start reaching to the right as the elbow bends as deep or not as might be the case for you on this side. You've got blocks. You can make use of anything you would like to, but keeping the left sit bones grounded. And on the next inhale, left arm leads the way as you come back up. Reach your hands down by your side. You can start to walk them forward however you need to come into a tabletop position. And we'll be here for just a breath as we get ourselves set up onto the mat, but we've already done some stuff with the wrists. Notice how it feels to have shoulders over the wrists, toes tucked. And on the next inhale, as you find yourself fully grounded, fingers spread wide, you can walk your hands to the very top of your mat and maybe take the knees and feet toward the back of your mat for puppy pose. Intentionally pushing into the hands, intentionally letting the head lower just enough so that the biceps are framing out the ears. That will also help to counter the natural tendency to come into a deep back bend, which we can do in this pose, but this is our first or second pose of the class, so we don't need to rush into it. And if this feels like a better place for you, for your wrists, elbows, or shoulders, stay here for 3 more breaths. Or you can walk the hands back in, one full handprint, with the toes tucked, lift the knees, send the inner thighs up and back as the heels get heavy, coming into down dog, without there needing to be any rush to get out of puppy pose. Still feeling into a neutral back here in your down dog. If you're in puppy pose, you can slowly start to transition. You can bypass down dog to come right into a forward fold. Everybody else on the inhale, heels get really high, and on the exhale, walk, step, hop, or jump to the top of your mat. Landing in your Uttanasana. Finding the right placement for your feet at this point in class. Letting the focus here be either on stretching the backs of the legs more, or letting gravity do the work of stretching and lengthening out the spine, where the knees might be a little bit more bent to make that happen. We got a lot of chair pose coming through here, so we'll come into that in just a second. We have more weight in the hands to start, more weight in the balls of the feet. Maybe intentionally here at the very end, come onto fingertips so you can take your legs a little bit more towards straight. Activating your core and keeping the torso lifting, walk your hands up the legs so the hands come to rest on the thighs. And as the thighs press into the hands tipping forward, the hands press into the thighs, grounding you and pushing you back. From here on the exhale, with the elbows hugging alongside the body, start to bend the knees deeply, stay deep in the bend through the hips. So we rise up with some support in our chair. And if this feels nice, you can stay here. You can reach the hands forward or arms overhead, biceps framing out the ears. Now the weight is a little bit more in the heels. Inhale to lift through the heart. Exhale, engage the core to tuck the sit bones a little bit. And on the next inhale, come stand through the legs. Tall mountain. Exhale, mountain pose. Oh, it reconnected. Awesome. Good. Setting up for one round of Sun Salutation B, so there's lunges along the way. And we don't have to come into Chaturanga at all or initially, but we can start to bring that in more regularly throughout the rest of class. Inhale to reach up, lengthen and get tall as you ground down through the feet, feeling into all four corners of both feet. On the exhale, sit back and down into chair. Good. You can either fold forward into your Uttanasana or come to stand. Then hinge from the hips and fold in. Wherever we are, coming into our own Uttanasanas. Inhale, come up just enough to step one foot back and then the other. We'll add some three-legged things along the way here as well, so keep an ear out for any extra cues if you would like them. Knees can always be lowered as you need to. On the exhale, lowering fully to the floor. Maybe Sphinx pose is where you are in this moment. Maybe baby cobra is where you are in this moment. Maybe cobra pose is where you are. Tops of the feet pressing down. Elbows hugging alongside the body with that core strong here once again. Exhale to lower down. Here's where some of the extra cues come in. Tuck the left toes, push out through the heel so the left knee lifts, unless you're coming up through tabletop. Lift the right leg away from the floor. Point the toes. On the inhales, you push down through the hands and your 1 foot. Push up through plank, three-legged plank, back to three-legged down dog. Just one breath here. If you would really like a hip opener, take it for just the breath. And as you come back to three-legged dog, right knee bends deeply, heel to sit bone, pushing off the left foot, come forward to your core plank. Knee hugs into chest. Let the shoulder blades come apart to give you a little more space to step 1 foot, your right foot, a little further forward than maybe you sometimes do. Otherwise, many steps, also fine. Staying low in low lunge, or inhale, rising up for crescent. I'd keep lifting through the inner left thigh, pushing out through the left heel as you deepen the lunge in the front knee. Exhale, frame it out. Back to down dog or three-legged down dog or three-legged down dog with a hip opener. Inhale, come back to three-legged dog. You can come back to full-on down dog. Either way, three-legged or not, press forward to plank. Right foot is still lifted in the three-legged variation. And on the exhale, lower fully to the floor or start your chaturangas. Into your up dogs. And exhale back to your chaturangas or to the floor. Right ball of the foot is pressing down, left leg is lifting. Push up and back through three-legged plank. Back to three-legged down dog. Maybe the hip opens for a breath. The next inhale brings you back to three-legged dog. With the knee bent deeply, heel to sit bone, come through core plank or come right into the lunge. From your core plank, take that bigger step forward. Again, stay low or extend up. Inner right thigh is lifting as you press out through the right heel. Deepen the lunge through the front knee. Good. On the exhale, frame it out. Stepping back to three-legged dog or down dog. Down dog will take you to plank. Three-legged dog will take you to three-legged plank. Again, option for the floor or chaturanga, cobra, or up dog, or Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Good. Exhale, back down. No three-legged anything, push up and back to down dog. Or give yourself rest in tabletop. 3 breaths. As you begin your 4th breath, heels lift. We start putting more intention and weight into the hands to give us the space to maybe jump forward. Walk, step, hop is fine. Good. Inhale for halfway lift. Exhale to fold. As always, if you would like to deepen your forward fold, you are welcome to do so, and any variations that you have in your own practice. Inhale, come to fingertips. Exhale, bend the knees deeply. Reach the arms overhead, or whatever variation of chair is right for you here. And on the inhale, stand down through the legs. Turn the palms forward, hook the thumbs. Try pulling the hands apart. And as the inner thighs keep pressing back, core engages, lift through the heart. Continue to frame out the ears with your biceps to whatever extent of a back bend is right for you here, including just standing tall and reaching up and stretching and lengthening the front side of the body, the back side of the body. Good. Exhale to release. Move through the shoulders a little bit, shake out the legs before coming back to stillness in your mountain pose. Good. Hands on hips as you sit back and down into your chair. On the inhales, we put more weight into the left foot. At the same time, can you draw into your left foot? Can you draw right knee to the chest? All right, thank you, everybody. Let the knee open wide. Bring ankle onto thigh. And you can sit back and down a little deeper. We're going to play in here a little bit, so we might transition into mountain along the way. Good. Bring your hands to heart center. The inner knee, the inner thigh keeps hugging the center, so we stay grounded on the big toe ball mount. With the right foot engaged, the right knee protected. On the exhale, you can fold in a little deeper. Coming to a place maybe where forearms and thigh and shin connect. Some of us, if we would like to take a deeper twist, will come more upright. Left hand takes hold of the right foot. And on the exhale, as we twist and lengthen the right side while we contract the left, bring right elbow to the arch of the right foot. You can bring left hand into right foot if you would like to. If you'd like to be here for a few more breaths, you're welcome to stay here. Inhale to come out of it if you'd like to go somewhere else with the legs. Keep taking your right knee off to the right to stack it on top of the left. And maybe you're just playing here because we're all wobbling, I see. Or maybe outer shins hug toward each other. It doesn't have to be a very deep one, but we just want to find that action, stretching out the outer hips here. Yes, we're definitely going to take a break in between. On the inhale, as you're ready, come out of it however you need to. Nice little bend to both legs. Let yourself drape over. Minus all the time that we're standing on one foot there, were there other things that felt difficult about the balance and the twist, besides we're balancing and twisting? The things that we would expect to be weird. All right. And it seems like weird is having a moment. Inhale, roll up the spine. Pause. Let your exhale release everything from side one. Hands find the hips as you sit back and down. Now I'm going to do this one right. Ground through the right foot, left knee hugs the chest. Good. You might play here, you know where we're going, so if this is the space for you to build your strength, stay here. Otherwise, find your figure four shape with the left leg. More upright or sitting lower into the chair, including bringing hands to the midline, reminding us to keep our pressure and our effort through the midline of the body, which is right now just on the inner edge of the right leg. Maybe right hand finds left heel. And as we lengthen through the spine, on the exhale, left elbow finds left or arch of the left foot. Maybe right hand finds the left hand, returning to Anjali Mudra and a remembrance for self-reverence. And if this feels nice, this actually kind of does on this side for me. You can stay or come out of the twist as you continue to take left knee over top of the right, just for that sensation, and then maybe outer shins hugging toward each other. Good. Nice, everyone. Inhale to unwind however you need to. The exhale releases everything from side 2. We don't have a side 3, thankfully. Good. So we're going to stick with, I mentioned we're going to do chair a bunch more times here. So we're going to shake the legs out. For our transition with crescent lunge, you are welcome to, instead of chair, as we've done at other times, to come into Uttanasana with support, or an easier time sometimes for stepping back. Otherwise, we'll stay deep in our chair as we slide back or maybe move through Warrior 3. So you have an idea of where we are. Have your blocks, if you'd like to use them, at the front of your mat. Good. On the inhale, reach up and overhead. Good. On the exhale, with the palms turned forward, pull down like you're lifting and or doing a pull-up and lifting here through the chest. And on the exhale, sit back and down into the chair. So now our chair is a little bit more of an S shape, but with intention. And as you ground down into the right foot, lift the left heel. You can either slide the left foot back, you can bend the left knee even more, so left heel reaches for left sit bone. As you keep lifted through the heart, can you start to tilt forward as that right leg straightens a little bit more? The left leg straightens a lot more before the right knee bends to bring the back foot to the floor. Inhale, coming back up, modification here in our crescent. And if you'd like a deeper stretch here through the back bend, going through the hips and into the hip flexors. Reach the arms up, let the palms touch maybe, or the finger pads touch. And with that fire here still through the core and long through the spine, find that space in the mid to upper back where the heart starts to lift without losing the effort through your core and through your fire. Inhale, come back up to neutral. Bring your hands down to heart center as the back heel spins down. Warrior 2 through the legs. Extend out through the arms. Here for just a second. With feet grounded, hugging to center, shoulder blades hugging to center. Can we tuck right sit bone under a little bit more so the knee pushes a little wider? And on the inhale, as you push the right foot down and away from you, let the leg come towards straight. Exhale, reach towards the front of the room. Bring your right hand to the inside of the leg, using the floor or block. Contract through the core so the front body is trying to come forward. Then lift, extend crown of the head more to the front of the room so we're finding length here through both sides. Good. Exhale for a little more depth here in your triangle pose. If you have a bend to that knee, maybe there's a little more space because it's been 2 or 3 breaths for that inner right thigh to get a little heavier, for that leg to straighten another little amount. And on the next exhale, bend the front knee. Bring both hands down to the inside. Walk that right foot off to the edge. Spin onto the ball of the left foot. So we're in a lizard lunge here with that back knee lifted. You can turn your right toes out just a little bit. And with the support on the blocks at their lowest setting, if you need it, or hands to the floor, we're going to take a big step or many steps forward with that back foot so that it mirrors the right, as if we would be setting up for Malasana. Some of us will stay here. You can bend the knees about halfway and come into this football alignment stance. Depending on how this feels, because we've done different things on each side of the body here still, you can bring both triceps to the insides of the knees as the knees bend even more deeply sitting upright here in Malasana. Good. On the next inhale, bring your hands to the floor. Straighten the legs. Without them being totally straight, heel toe your feet so they're about hips width distance. Hands come to the hips. Elbows hug alongside or hug toward each other as they try to point towards the sky. Exhale, folding in, longer through the legs. And then you can release the hands if you would like to and roll up the spine as we sometimes do. Otherwise, bring a little bit of a bend back to the knees. Push through the space behind the heart. Reach through the elbows to rise up. To stand, mountain pose. We have a side too. If you know that you would like to do the Uttanasana variation, you're going to lower your hands to the floor and come into the forward fold. Otherwise, with the arms reaching overhead, sit back and down into your chair. Good. Put more weight into the left foot this time. Right heel lifts and maybe the right foot slides back. Maybe the right foot lifts totally. The knee bends even deeper, right heel to right sit bone. Start to unbend the left leg as you hinge forward. It's not going to come completely to straight, but as we reach forward, extend out through the right heel. Front knee bends, back foot finds the floor. Inhale for your crescent lunge. Maybe again, finger pads touch, maybe palms touch. Lift through the inner right thigh, deepen through the front knee. With that engagement here through the core, start to curl heart towards the sky. So the upper body is reaching up and extending back, while the left leg is extending back, and so you have a deep stretch all through that whole side of the body. Inhale, come back to neutral as you bring hands to heart center. And as you spin the back heel down, open up into warrior two, side two. Any adjustments you need to make along the way. Wider stance, shorter stance, probably not a narrower stance. Just forgetting the setup here. Left sit bone tucks under ever so slightly to help to take the knee wider. Bring the outer hip in. Then left foot pushes down and away so that leg moves towards straight. And on the exhale, reach to the front of the room. Bring fingertips, left fingertips to the block or the floor inside the shin. Shin and forearm push into each other so we can twist a little bit more away from that leg. Again, find the contraction, find your fire. So we're lengthening. And as the left fingertips press down, the right fingertips reach to the sky. And on your next exhale, front knee bends. Bring both hands to the floor inside that left foot. As you spin up onto the ball of the right foot, take that left foot to the edge of your mat. Whatever support you might need. We'll take the possibility here of crow pose, Bakasana. So one step or many, that right foot steps forward to mirror the left. And either knees bend to halfway, and we interlace the fingers and let the forearms rest to work on sitting further back. Maybe we sit back and down a little deeper still, bringing the triceps to the insides of the knees, insides of the thighs. And as the knees hug to center, we press into the hands so the upper arms are resisting. And if you would like to, bring your hands to the floor. Unbend the knees just a little bit so you can start to tilt forward and put more weight into the hands. You can have a block on its highest setting there with a blanket on top, or not if you would like to bring the head to rest first and then intentionally to push the forehead into the block. So that we're tilting forward, letting the heels lift. Maybe lifting one foot heel to sit bone. Maybe bring that down and switching sides or keeping it lifted. And lifting the other heel to sit bone. As we let the shoulder blades come a little bit off the back, but stay full in the breath. And if you're using the block, can you tilt back just half an inch and feel it? Yes. We sink back pretty quickly. That's not uncommon. Don't worry about it. If you're in this here and done with playing, because you can keep playing a little more if you'd like to, sure, yeah. With the bend to the knees, bring them parallel and hips width distance, and let yourself just rest over the bent knees, belly to thighs. It was pretty quick to...
Yeah, feeling better. But the block helped. At least I stayed up for a while longer.
Yeah, it's great to have for there. Instead of, you can either think of like hips moving back or just lifting the head a little bit. It's a little bit of this or that.
I mean, there's a lot of weight here. It didn't move that far.
Yeah. Wherever you are, you can start to roll up the spine. Coming to stand. With your palms open alongside the body here. You can keep left hand by your side, left hand at the hip, whatever you would like to for a standing crescent stretch. Inhale to reach both arms up if you're going this way. Left hand takes right wrist, lengthen on the right side, and on the exhale, lean to the left. There's a little bit more freedom here, so you can allow the hips to really move to the right if there is that mobility and openness on the right side. But we're continuing to lift up as if we're trying to get over, I guess it's Olympics, over the pole vault, instead of collapsing into it. Reaching through the fingers, staying grounded on the inner edges of both feet. On the inhale, rise back up. You can bring the hands by your side if you need a rest. Switch the grip if you don't just yet. We will eventually. Lengthen on the left side. On the exhale, reach to the right, letting the hips really move to the left to increase the stretch as long as we can stay strong and lifted on the right side. Good. Inhale to come back up. You can keep arms overhead for standing back bend or Anavattasana. You can bring hands, heels of your palms onto the low back with the elbows hugging to center if you would like some more support. That gives us extra information for driving the hips forward, so this gives us some support in some other ways. Otherwise, with any of these options here, inner thighs reach back, core stays strong, lift through the heart. And as heart reaches a little bit more to the sky, the hips can move forward as long as the inner thighs keep moving back and your fire stays strong. Heated and lifted, nice. Good. And this may be ever so slightly more than before. Maybe it's the same as before, but it feels a little more accessible. Using your next in-breath, lift through the heart to come a little bit more upright. Bring your hands down by your sides. And one more deeper transition with some balance here. You can keep hands by your side if you would like to do the transition through airplane wings instead of arms overhead. Your choice of arms by your side or overhead as you sit back and down into the chair. Good. Keeping the right foot grounded. Again, either it's left heel lifts, foot slides back. Maybe it felt really nice just to bend the knee and bring heel to sit bone. Maybe there's more core stuff here even where it is knee hugging forward. And as we hinge from the hips, left leg extends back. If you have the arms overhead, keep reaching toward me as you send more effort out through the heel. And on the exhale, front knee bends, back foot finds the floor. Just one breath in crescent. You can bring the hands down to frame out the foot or use blocks if you need support to lower down to Anjaneyasana. Otherwise, with feet hugging to center, inner thighs hugging to center, and continuing to lift to the sky, can you lower the back knee to the floor? And keeping arms overhead if you would like to. Hands can come to thighs, certainly. Maybe because we've done a lot here through the shoulders, we reach back and can interlace the fingers behind ourselves. Deep bend to the elbows to do so. Maybe the heels of the palms touch. If not, with the fingers interlaced, you can try to pull the interlaced fingers apart. That will typically send the heels a little bit closer toward each other. And do you have the interlace? You can start to extend out through the fingers, lengthening the arms, which will bring you into more of a back bend as you deepen the lunge in the front knee. Good. With the inhale, follow the heart to come back up. Frame out the right foot. Bring blocks if you need to. We're going to come to half split. You can take it further if you would like to. But the back knee walks back, the hands walk back, the hands with blocks walk back, till we get to a place where the right leg is as straight as it's going to get for this side. Yes, give your knee support if you need. Does everyone have a blanket who might want one or need one? Everyone's good? All right, cool. Using the blocks, you can walk yourself really far in without doing the forward fold if that takes away from your ability to stretch that front leg. Or with the heart staying lifted, you might walk your hands or hands and blocks a little forward, thinking more of belly to thigh and neutral and long through the back spine, back of the spine. Good. On the next inhale, with a little bend to that front knee, start to walk the blocks forward, walk that back knee forward. Bring both hands to the inside of that left or right foot. Walk it wide like lizard lunge. And you can let the knee move a little bit back and forth. Anything that feels good in the hip socket here. Maybe just some nice hip circles. Before coming back to stillness. With the hands or hands and blocks walking back again and the back knee moving back. A second half split, but with a wider stance through the leg. Just noticing what is or isn't different because of it. And we'll be here for about 3 or 4 breaths, so you can deepen your split on the side if you would like to. But it is shoulder blades hugging onto the back. Heart is lifting, gaze just over the top of your mat instead of looking down. Good. On your next in-breath, as you put a little bit of a bend to that front knee, walk everything forward. Ground intentionally into the right foot. Walk it back to being in line with your hips, or in line with that right hip, that right sit bone. And then we're going to start to walk our hands off to the left, keeping the left knee grounded. Take your left foot off to the right. I did this on Monday. It's a little bit of an awkward transition here. Setting up for a gate latch pose or Parigrasana. We're going to maybe walk your right foot a little bit more to center so that we kind of have heel-ish in line with your left knee. And on the inhale, bring hands to hips as you come up. So it looks a little bit like Warrior Two on the back knee. This is one option you can stay with. You can also scooch that right foot way far forward, sort of like triangle pose, but the foot will be lifted. Or sorry, the balls of the foot will be lifted. If you need the extra support, you can spin that heel down. This is where it isn't good for my foot, so I'm not going to do that. But you can to have more stability here. On the inhale, reach your left arm to the sky. You can have a block to the inside or the outside of that right leg if you would like to. And on the inhale, as we lengthen on the left, exhale, start to reach off to the right. That right hand might find the floor, might make use of the block. And you keep the right sit bone tucking under. The torso reaching here more off to the flat wall there. Maybe a little bit more space even still to reach and lengthen through the left fingertips in our Parigrasana. That right hand, wherever it's pushing down into, is giving us support to stay tall and lifted on the right side as well. Good. And on the inhale, left arm leads the way to come back up. A little bend to that front leg so you have more stability as you lower back down. Walk it to the front of the room however you would like to. We can move through Vinyasa flow for some of us. Others of us may just want to plant that right foot and take a big step forward with the left for Uttanasana. But if you're here for the flow, take the flow. Maybe there's Chaturanga, maybe there's Up Dog, maybe that's not where you are at this point. And as you're ready, you'll walk, step, hop, or jump to the top of your mat. And inhale, slowly come up however you would like to, knowing that we have a lot of energy to expend for side two. All right, airplane wing arms again for more stability in the transition, or arms overhead as you sit back and down into the chair. Putting more weight into the right foot. Left foot. Lift the right heel, maybe slide the right foot back, maybe it is right heel to sit bone, or doing more core work through the front side, maybe it's right knee to chest. As you transition through Warrior 3, Virabhadrasana 3. Keep reaching toward me. If you've got the arms overhead, you have airplane wing arms, keep reaching and stretching your head to the front of the room. Left knee bends so the right foot finds the floor. Coming upright for your crescent. Bring your hands by your side to blocks if you need to for the transition. Thighs hug to center, feet hug to center. Lift and keep lifting and reaching to the ceiling as that back knee descends to the floor. Arms overhead for the back bend. Hands at the low back for the back bend. Or interlacing the hands, one digit off from the other side as you extend out through the interlaced fingers, deep in through the lunge. Keep sending that right knee down and hugging forward with the back of the right hand pressing into the inner right thigh. Inhale to come up. Frame it out. With blocks or not, back knee moves back, hands walk back, hips move back. Maybe more upright in your Ardha Hanumanasana, maybe not. But shoulder blades hug to the back so the heart is lifting and our gaze is forward. And for another 2 or 3 breaths, letting the inner thighs, your inner left thigh get heavier and a little heavier. Maybe there's more of a forward fold that starts to happen. If that doesn't, create sensation at the place where the hamstrings connect, so just behind the knee or at the sit bones. We want to really feel that stretch from the meatier part of your thigh, the hamstrings. Inhale to come forward a little bit. So you can plant the hands, you can take that left foot wider. Make some hip circles, whatever feels nice on this side. Then the hands will walk back. The right knee will walk back. The left leg will come more towards straight in a wider half split. Keeping left foot engaged, really pushing through that left big toe ball mound. Keeping the heart lifting. If you have the hands to the floor, we can push them down to the floor and try hugging them to the back knee to remind us to lift a little bit more through the upper part of our chest and our torso. Good. One more exhale for your depth. Then on the inhale, we put a deeper bend to that left knee so we can come forward a little bit. Plant the left foot. Pivot on the right to bring your right toes off the left side of your mat. Walk your hands halfway back. Probably walk that left foot a little bit more towards center. having blocks to the inside or outside of that leg, coming up hands to hips. If you would like to, now we start to scooch out that left foot, heel down, toes to the sky, or with intention, come to the inner edge of that left foot. Inhale, reach your right arm to the sky. And as we find that stability and groundedness through the right side, lengthen. Then find that crescent stretch with the left hand, finding the floor or block inside or outside of the left leg. The leg and the arm are pushing into each other so that the torso stays spinning more towards the sky through the twist. And reaching. And reaching at the same time that we're lifting left side of the body away from the floor, left side of the torso away from the floor. Good inhale to come up. Bring both hands down to the floor in front of you. Scooch or draw that left knee in so we have tabletop with our knees on the floor, so we can just pivot our tabletop to facing the front of the mat. Cross at the ankles or take the feet to one side, hips to the other if you would like to. To come to have a seat with your legs extended long in front of you, Dandasana. Move flesh around so you feel even. And have a little bend to the knees if you need to. If it feels like Dandasana is like this for you, little bend to the knees, heels hugging to sit bones, give us that lift and start to tilt the pubic bone forward, giving us more support to the low back. And maybe over the course of the next several breaths, the inner thighs can get heavier with the support of the hands beneath us. And on the next exhale, start to draw knees to chest as you drag the heels closer to you. Knees open wide, soles of the feet come to touch Baddha Konasana. Thumbs with the fingers as we take hold of the fronts of the ankles or the shins. As we pull shoulder blades on the back, that tilts us forward a little bit more here already. If you're coming into the forward fold, you can let the big toe ball mounds come apart to free up some movement and some more mobility through the legs. But heels are pressing to each other, knees are hugging into the hips, and on the exhale, elbows bend as we keep the heart lifting in our forward fold. Maybe the hands start to walk forward even as well. If we can keep the hands pressing down so the outer shoulders are lifting, so shoulder blades can hug on to the back, and we can maintain good form, good connection to ourselves here in our forward fold. Inhale to slowly start to walk the hands in. And have your blocks by your sides. We'll do either half lotus or full lotus, but we'll all start in half lotus to start and see how that feels for us. We're going to lift right leg a little bit away from the floor. Start to walk the left leg across, trying to get left shin parallel to the short side of your mat, and trying to bring the ankle, we're going to see how this feels for me, the ankle onto the knee or the upper thigh. Yes. Or leaning back a little bit to do so. Or figure four. And if you can, we're stacking ankle on top of knee, knee on top of ankle, making use of blocks if you need to. This is almost there. This is more of Agni Stambhasana. We'll take the top leg a little closer in, heel toward the hip crease. And with the left foot underneath, you can bring heel to outer hip. And so this would be half lotus. If this feels where you need to be for this, you're going to stay right here. If there's the possibility of coming into a fuller lotus pose, take the left leg out a little bit more. We're going to lean to the left. Right hand takes left ankle. We're not twisting. We're trying to lift shin parallel, moving in the same rate, ankle and knee, to bring ankle onto higher up. It's all right. Or stay just like that. It is. And it's not a rocking around. If you would like to do a little bit more core work here, this may be something as well for other Bakasanas. Bring your hands or your blocks by your side, or it's just hands. Lowest setting or medium setting or no setting if you have gorilla arms like I do. Push the arms towards straight and let the shoulders come up to the ears. Good. Then let the elbows bend to send the shoulders back down the ear, away from the ears. And now with the shoulders fully grounded on your back, can you push the arms towards straight and allow the hips to come a little tiny bit away from the floor. If you're in half lotus, that bottom foot can become a kickstand as you start to do more core work to draw top leg toward chest. Whatever that top leg happens to be. Yeah, lifting core work here. But if we're here with a half variation, right, then we've got a kickstand to give us some support for that if it feels all right. Exhale to lower down. Release the legs. Shake them out. We'll see how the other side feels. Draw both knees in once again. With the knees open wide, we'll be here in Baddha Konasana for just a second, just as our starting point. Then we can lean to the right to do so, to lift the left foot a little bit or a lot, to bring right shin across so that the left ankle can rest on the right knee, keeping the feet active on both sides. And now as we're moving forward here a little bit further, either coming into figure four shape so that you're getting the hip opening in the figure four shape. Maybe the left heel comes closer into the right hip crease. And we draw the right ankle in closer to the left sit bone. If it feels all right on this side, you can take that right foot a little further forward, lean to the right, draw up on the leg totally to bring ankle onto left. That feels all right. All right, cool. Blocks again here if you would like to, or not. Hands pressed down, whatever that bottom foot is, whatever that bottom leg is, if it's not lifting with you, keep the foot really active and try pushing down into the blade edge of the foot, almost sort of like what we're doing when we're doing Vashisthasana or side plank. Lift shoulders to the ears to start, then shoulders descend and the elbows have to move to make space for that. Shoulder blades try to lock into place. And now as we push the arms towards straight, the hips have to lift. And then we do the core work to draw nice, David. The top knee, the top leg toward the chest. Nice, good one there. How's that over there for you? I can't see. It's not supposed to be doing this probably. Exhale to come down. Shake out the hands. If you have full lotus, lean to the right to release the right. Slide the left off. Send the legs out, shake out the legs. Good. So we're going to come into, we still got what, 5 minutes? 5 minutes? We're going to come into bridge pose on our backs. We were doing last week, if anyone wasn't here, depending on where you're interested in going, because we got to do half lotus and full lotus, your bridge, you are welcome to turn into a shoulder stand. And in your shoulder stand, if you would like to, You can take one leg down, knee opens wide, figure four shape. Let gravity do the work as you do the same thing with the other leg. So gravity gives us the support to come into half lotus in our shoulder stand. And then with some of the work that we've been doing with core and with the wrists, we can lower out of our shoulder stand, Padmasana style. Come forward onto hands, trying to bring the wrist to touch or slightly turning back. So now the elbows are coming really close together here. Elbows start to bend, so we bring more of the belly and lower rib cage onto the triceps and the elbows. And doing core work here. Oh God, that's a hard one today. Doing core work here of pushing down into the hands, trying to keep heart lifted, and also at the same time trying to lift the back knees away from the floor for peacock. And then right on back up and out. So I demoed that last week. We did a little bit of stuff with it last week. We got more into shoulders, some core stuff, some lotus. If that's an idea that you like to just think about while you're in the pose, you don't have to go any further. But that's the thing that I've been building some more stuff on, and we'll do so probably for another 2 more weeks. So set yourself up for your bridge pose. You can make it a restorative bridge pose once we rise up. But find feet grounded, toes pointing forward, inner thighs hugging the center. You'll notice because you'll feel more pressure on the inner edges of the feet. And with the elbows bent alongside the body and the shoulders hugging to center, lift hips or send hips to the sky, knees reaching forward. If you're not interested in any of that other stuff that I just showed, again, you can take blocks and bring underneath the sacrum. You can extend the arms long, reaching for your heels, so you have the forearms to press down and give you additional support and lift in your bridge. Activate your glutes. Put more effort into the legs. You can hug shoulder blades even closer together as you turn the palms to face each other, interlacing the hands and pressing those interlaced pinky fingers toward the floor for a different sort of support and lift in your bridge. If you're interested in shoulder stand of any variation, just take another breath or 2 in your bridge before making that transition. The last couple of weeks when we were doing this, we were using the blanket, so you can always do that as well. So there's a little more space between the floor and your neck. And even if you're going up and not planning on doing any of the other fancy stuff, just notice what it is like to draw one knee in to figure 4 and the effort that is different because of gravity. We often complain about gravity. Sometimes it is supportive in the ways that we want it to be. Good. And so if you're just playing with figure 4 here in your shoulder stand, take another minute. You can try figure 4 with the other side if you'd like to. And it may just feel like one side has more openness and accessibility. And because nobody here in class is new to me today, as you come out, give yourself a moment for Matsyasana or fish posture. Be mindful about the blocks where you are when you're coming out. I can kick that aside, Shri, if you want me to. That doesn't look like it's going to hit in a good spot. Find your fish posture just as the counterbalance. Mountain pose on your back with your hands underneath your glutes or your thighs. Lifting torso away from the floor, lengthening the neck before you tilt the chin up to let the crown of the head find the floor. Then we're pushing into the elbows, grounding down through the legs, intentionally pushing head into the floor so that the neck muscles are engaged. Maybe it will happen tomorrow for some of you. Lion's breath is possible here as well. And if you're done with your Matsyasana or any other variations of things you're taking right now. Exhale into your Shavasana. Make yourself comfortable. It doesn't mean that it's even on both sides, but it is in a shape that feels like you can fully release and settle. Each exhale giving you an opportunity to settle deeper, away from the surface, away from the boundaries of the cool air in your skin, of the mat in your skin. And if the mind is cooperating and allowing you to settle into stillness, do so. Or keep your attention just on the sensation of the breath to keep you present. Let your next breath be deeper than the last. And the next breath deeper still, bringing your awareness back to the very edges of yourself. Not just the fingers and toes, but aware of the sensation of the cool air on the skin, of the mat underneath you on your body. And making whatever movements you would like to. You can take deep stretches or just come right into Upasana or Happy Baby if that feels right in this moment. Massaging out the back a little bit. Maybe if you're rocking back and forth, it becomes more of an exaggerated movement that helps to rock and roll you right on up to have a seat or off to your side to push up to a seat. And you can come to Sukhasana. You can take the knees a little wider so it is inner foot heel to groin, outer foot heel to inner foot ankle for a little bit more of a wider seat, called Siddhasana or accomplished pose. And you can have the hands resting on the thighs, maybe thumb and forefinger are touching for this more grounded intention, or returning to hands at heart center. Those two options or anything else that works for you. For 3 breaths, just to notice the shifts and changes through the mindful movement or asana portion of yoga. And this exploration and really deeply integrating with yourself is exactly where you need to be. Stay here with your breath. And if you'd like to join me in the sound of one Om to close out the practice, exhale completely, to inhale fully. Namaste. Debbie joined in with us. I was like, what does that sound? Oh, it's rain. Thank you everyone for coming out today. As I mentioned, I'm on the calendar, on the schedule 2 more times next week. Both of them are for 75 or 90 minutes for a longer stretch of time. As well, I will be, yes, that's next week. This Sunday is still Mariel. But flight school this weekend, if you're interested. The Wellness on the Waterfront is continuing, 6 o'clock on Mondays and Thursdays, 6 p.m. on Mondays and Thursdays, 10 a.m. on Sundays. Community hours here, Mondays at 6 and Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6:30 a.m. The Monday is 6 p.m. So sliding scale 5 to 10 for recent teacher trainees, I guess teacher trainer graduates. And then it starts up again on September 27th with the 50-hour yoga immersion, which rides right into the 200-hour teacher training. Anisha and Adriana are doing some interviews and some info sessions about that. So if you're interested, you can just get some more information. There's a Thai yoga massage next Saturday. Kids yoga is next Saturday. Rolling into rest is next Sunday. And I may need that one, as I said. Be well, stay safe, stay dry if that's possible right now. I didn't bring an umbrella. See everybody online who's watching this.